Just like the children of Israel in Egypt, many of us are stuck in a system that wants us broke. This isn't a line from a dystopian novel, folks. It's the reality that countless people around the globe face each day. Let's talk about the system. It's this big, nebulous entity that we're all a part of, whether we like it or not. It's the way our society is structured, the way our economies work. And as it turns out, the system has a peculiar interest in keeping us broke. Now, you might be asking, why would the system want us broke? Wouldn't it benefit from us having more money to spend? Well, surprisingly, the answer is a resounding no. And just like the children of Israel in Egypt, we're toiling away, gathering straw and making bricks, all for a system that doesn't particularly care if we're financially secure or not. You see, the children of Israel were enslaved in Egypt, forced to gather straw to make bricks for their oppressors. They were kept in a state of perpetual poverty, unable to break free from their chains. Sound familiar? It's not so different from the modern-day financial struggles that many of us face. We're constantly gathering straws of debt, building bricks of financial obligations, all for the benefit of the system. And much like the children of Israel, we're stuck in a never-ending cycle. We work, we earn, we spend, and then we're broke again. The system has us running on a hamster wheel, always chasing after financial security, but never quite reaching it. But here's the kicker. The system doesn't just want us broke, it needs us broke. It relies on our financial instability to keep the wheels turning. The more we struggle, the more the system thrives. It's a twisted game where the house always wins, and we're left holding the bag. So why does the system want us broke? Let's dive into this conspiracy, shall we? Prepare to have your mind blown as we uncover the truth behind the system's grand scheme. Buckle up because things are about to get intriguingly complex. Let's delve deeper into why the system wants us broke. The system is designed in a way that relies heavily on consumer spending to fuel the economy. You see, when we spend money, it stimulates economic growth. This money flows into businesses, which then pay their employees and invest in their operations. These actions, in turn, generate more money flow in the economy, which leads to economic growth. It's a cycle that keeps the system running. Now, how does the system ensure we keep spending, even when we're running low on cash? The answer lies in the powerful tool of advertising. Advertisements are everywhere, from the billboards we pass on our way to work to the social media platforms we scroll through during our breaks. These ads constantly bombard us with messages of what we supposedly need to buy to be happy, successful, or accepted. They play on our insecurities and desires, pushing us towards a lifestyle of consumerism. And here's the catch. The lifestyle that advertising sells us often costs more than what we earn. So what do? We borrow. We take out loans, use credit cards, and get into debt. We're buying things we can't afford, hoping they'll make us happy. But all they do is add to our pile of financial obligations, keeping us broke. So the system benefits from our financial struggles. When we're broke, we're more likely to take on debt to continue our spending habits. This debt, in turn, generates interest and fees for financial institutions, another cog in the system. It's a vicious cycle that keeps us chained to our financial woes. The system, you see, is quite fond of debt. Why? Because it's an incredibly efficient tool to keep us financially handicapped. It's the straw we're constantly gathering, and it comes in many forms. Consider student loans, for instance. Young, bright-eyed individuals, eager to make a mark in the world, are lured into the promise of a brighter future. Get a degree, secure a well-paying job, and live the dream, they say. And so we sign on the dotted line, not fully comprehending the financial burden we've just shouldered. Before we even start earning, we're already neck-deep in debt. Then there's the ever-enticing credit card debt. It's like a siren song, luring us with the allure of instant gratification. Buy now, pay later, they whisper, and we fall for it. On the surface, it's a seemingly harmless convenience. But let's be honest, how many of us truly understand the fine print? The high interest rates, the late fees, they all add up, turning a small purchase into a mountain of debt. And let's not forget mortgages. The dream of home ownership. It's a noble pursuit, but at what cost? The system encourages us to buy homes we can't afford, locking us into decades of payments. And just like that, we're shackled to the system, working tirelessly to keep up with the demands. Each of these debts, these straws, chip away at our financial freedom, keeping us in a perpetual state of indebtedness. The system doesn't want us to pay off our debts. It wants us to keep gathering straws, to keep us controlled, to keep us broke. Debt, my friends, is the straw we gather, but what about the bricks we're forced to make? Just like the Israelites were forced to make bricks, we too are burdened with financial obligations. Now let's dive into these bricks of financial obligations that we, the modern-day Israelites, are forced to make. First, there's the massive brick labeled taxation. We all know the famous saying, nothing is certain except death and taxes. Taxes are an undeniable part of our financial lives. From income tax to sales tax, property tax to capital gains tax, it's an ever-present reality. The system has made sure of that. Next, we have the brick of living expenses. This includes everything from rent or mortgage payments to the cost of groceries, utilities, and transportation. And let's not forget about the unexpected expenses that life throws at us, like a broken car or a sudden health issue. These expenses can often feel like a brick wall, leaving us with little room to save. Then, there's the bills brick. From phone bills to internet service, credit card payments to student loans, these monthly obligations can quickly pile up. Each one might seem small on its own, but together they form a hefty brick. And also, we can't forget about the retirement savings brick. In a perfect world, we'd all be able to set aside a portion of our income for our golden years. But often, the weight of the other bricks makes this one seem impossible to lift. In the end, these bricks of financial obligations can feel overwhelming. They can leave us feeling trapped, stuck in a cycle of earning and spending, with little left over for savings or investments. Another brick in our financial burden is the issue of wage stagnation versus inflation. Now, what do we mean by wage stagnation? In simple terms, it refers to our wages remaining static over time. Despite working harder, putting in more hours, or even gaining more experience and skills, our paychecks seem to stay the same. It's like running on a treadmill. No matter how hard we run, we don't seem to move forward. On the other side of the coin, we have inflation. This is the general increase in prices over time. It's like a stealthy thief, slowly and subtly eating away at the value of our money. A gallon of milk or a loaf of bread costs more today than it did 10 years ago. The same goes for bigger expenses like housing, healthcare, and education. Now, let's put these two together. On one hand, our wages are stagnating, and on the other, the cost of living is increasing. It's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. We're running harder and harder just to stay in the same spot. This has a significant impact on our financial health. It means our money doesn't go as far as it used to. It means we're struggling to meet our basic needs, let alone save for the future. It means we're sinking deeper into debt just to keep our heads above water. So, while our wages remain the same, the cost of living continues to rise. This is another way the system keeps us financially strained. It's like trying to build a house with bricks that keep getting heavier, while our strength remains the same. So, the system keeps us broke to keep itself afloat. But don't worry, we're not helpless. Stay tuned as we explore how we can break free from this cycle and reclaim our financial freedom. Remember, knowledge is power, and understanding the system is the first step towards beating it. Just as the Israelites eventually broke free, so can we. Now, how do we shake off these financial shackles? The answer lies within 3 key strategies: financial literacy, investing, and entrepreneurship. Let's start with financial literacy. It's like learning a new language, the language of money. Understanding terms like interest rates, inflation, and compound interest is crucial. It's like being able to read the hieroglyphics of the financial world. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't need to be the next Warren Buffett, but understanding the basics of how money works will give you the tools to make informed decisions and avoid those cunning financial traps set by the system. Next up, investing. This isn't about hitting the jackpot in the stock market. It's about letting your money work for you, not the other way around. It's about planting those financial seeds, watering them, and watching them grow. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, these are all tools at your disposal. It's like turning the tables on the system, making it work for you instead of against you. And the final piece of the puzzle, entrepreneurship. The system wants you to be a cog in the machine. But what if you could be the machine? Starting your own business? That's the ticket. It's not a walk in the park, don't get me wrong, but it's a path towards financial freedom. It's about creating your own wealth, not building someone else's. Now, these strategies aren't an overnight escape plan. They're the building blocks to your financial freedom. It's a long journey, and it won't be easy. There will be hurdles, pitfalls, maybe a few Egyptian plagues of your own. But remember, the Israelites made it to the promised land, and so can you. Breaking free isn't easy, but it's not impossible either. It's time we stop being slaves to the system and start taking control of our financial futures. So, are you ready to break those chains? You can refuse to be part of the debt cycle by living within your means and focusing on financial literacy. You can lighten the load of financial obligations by setting financial goals and prioritizing your needs over wants. We can uncover the conspiracy by educating ourselves and others about the system and its tactics. It's time to take charge of your financial situation. It's time to stop being a victim of the system and start being a victor. The journey may not be easy, but the destination is worth it. So stand tall, brace yourself, and take that first step towards financial freedom. Remember, the system may want you broke, but you have the power to change that. So, what are you waiting for? It's time to break free. If you found this content helpful or interesting, don't forget to like, share, and comment below. And remember to hit that subscribe button for more tips on achieving financial freedom. You've got this.